quick. The 4 criteria that the judges will use to score each individual round: clean punching, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense, with a strong emphasis on clean, effective punching. Jim.
Here's Orlando Salido, turned pro at the age of 15. Many Mexican fighters turned pro in their
is normal everywhere else, and you wonder how that affected his punching ability.
And if it diminished his punching power, did it actually make Pacquiao less safe rather than more safe, because he took more punches to the head than would have been the case if he got knocked out in the second round, which might have happened if Williams were wearing 8-ounce gloves.
Exactly.
And here's Robert the Ghost Guerrero, who has made a good rise in the featherweight division. Lost once to Gamaliel Diaz a couple of years ago in a split decision, and then came back, or excuse me, about 1 year ago in a split decision, and then came back to avenge that loss in June of this year. Got a win over Eric Aiken in Los Angeles on the undercard of James Toney and Sam Peter back in September, and now tries to move towards the center of the division. He's looking somewhere down the road to try to get in against Juan Manuel Marquez.
Jim, do you know that at the Gilroy Garlic Fair you can get garlic ice cream?
Meaningful because Guerrero's from Gilroy, California, which is, as you're about to point out, Larry, the garlic capital of the
universe.
Guerrero did, in fact, recommend the garlic ice cream. So if you're ever in Gilroy for the Garlic Festival, and surely millions of you will flood in there next year, be sure to check out the garlic ice cream.
Well, I'm one of those people who thinks that almost every food can be improved by garlic, but I'm a little skeptical about ice cream.
Don't know until you've tried. And now let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, Goose and Tudor Promotions presents the co-featured bout of the evening, brought to you in association with Banner Promotions. Sponsored by True Dad Entertainment, along with Tycoon Armagnac, Icelink Watches, and the motion picture Rocky Balboa. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission and the International Boxing Federation. The 3 judges at ringside scoring this contest on the 10-point system will be Richard Green, Patricia Morse-Jarman, and Dave Moretti. And inside the ring, the referee in charge of the action, World Boxing Hall of Famer working for the 78th time in a title contest, Robert Byrd. And now from the Mandalay Bay of Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Featherweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with gold, official weight 126 pounds. His professional record, 27 victories, including 18 knockouts. 9 defeats, 2 bouts even. Damas y caballeros de Ciudad Obregón, Mexico, the IBF #1 ranked challenger in the world, Orlando City Salido. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red with white. Official weight, 126 pounds. His professional record, 19 victories, including 12 knockouts, only 1 defeat and 1 draw. Representing the Bay Area from Gilroy, California, the reigning, defending IBF featherweight champion of the world, Robert the Ghost Guerrero.
Gentlemen, you've had your instructions in the dressing room. The only thing I'm going to tell you now is when I tell you to stop, what that means is stop whatever you're doing and give me a clean break. Protect yourselves at all times, obey my commands at all times. Anything on this belt is going to be good. Anything on this belt is going to be good. Good luck.
Both fighters can box. Both fighters can brawl. Who will bring out the beast in the other?
Well, there's tremendous incentive here for Salido, who feels like he's been overlooked for quite some time. But Robert Guerrero is one of the proud items in Goose and Tudor Promotions' rapidly burgeoning stable of stars, and they think maybe he can become the main man in the featherweight division, or maybe move up and chase fights at 130 against the various stars in that weight class. Marco Antonio Barrera, Manny Pacquiao, Eric Morales, if Morales can maintain his star status on November 18 against Pacquiao.
Right now they're testing each other.
Good right hand across the top for Salido. Guerrero is a guy who's equally comfortable fighting inside or outside. A good southpaw uppercut by Guerrero makes some space for him to dive in and try to keep going against Salido. Salido comes back, giving as good as he's getting as they fight on the inside. And now Robert Byrd wants both fighters to be aware of their heads.
Guerrero seems to be fighting was a power puncher in this fight here. And particularly his left uppercut to the body seems to be putting a lot of power in it. Not much really speed, feet or hand for small guys.
That left uppercut to the body is his best punch, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
He beat Eric Aiken with it, using it over and over and over.
And it takes his toll eventually. But he's power punching. I thought for smaller guys it would be maybe trying to box him more.
He's a patient fighter. Realizes that his style makes it imperative for him to go hard 7, 8, 9 rounds in a row to wear the opponent down.
He was saying that when I think his 10th fight, he started fighting 10 rounders, and fighters who were just barely going to limit with him when he was fighting 4 rounds, he was able to knock them out then because he needed the longer rounds.
Stop! Stop!
Who's stronger? Who's faster?
Let's go.
They're still trying to find out.
Guerrero went to the Olympic trials trying to make the Sydney Olympic team
There you go. There you go.
at age 16. In fact, he was born on the date which was the minimum age limit for entry into the United States Olympic boxing trials. So as his manager says, he'll be the youngest fighter ever at the trials unless somebody was born a few minutes before him and made it to the semifinal round. And that good uppercut to the body inside by Robert the Ghost Guerrero.
So far, the most dominating punch of the whole fight has been pretty much his left uppercut.
But most fighters use the uppercut almost exclusively as a blow to the head. Guerrero uses it repeatedly as a body punch.
And the way they fight, though, you got to be really concerned about some headbutts where the heads are colliding sometimes.
That's what Robert Byrd has been looking for since the opening bell. And 2 good left hands by Guerrero to punctuate the round. The first of them, Emmanuel pointed it out, that good uppercut to the body. When we go to the corner for Salido, where they speak Spanish, our interpreter is Ray Torres.
That's it. Don't go to that left side. He's getting you. Now it's your turn now. Yeah. Don't hit him too low. Give him some water.
For that left uppercut and that left to the body. Body. Tight defense, mijo. Yeah, breathe, mijo. Breathe. Hey, nice. Hey, drop your shots a little lower.
Right here, you see Guerrero land a good left uppercut, I think, but this bunch that followed was a punch up on top. He set him up by hitting him with so many left uppercuts to the body that the opponent, Salido, had his hands down looking for a body punch, and instead the punch came to the head.
CompuBox numbers in round one. Good, busy round. Guerrero 17 out of 91. Salido 12 out of 93. Neither landing at a particularly high percentage, but both throwing a high punch total in the first round. Second round of this featherweight bout. Guerrero won a title belt in his victory over Eric Aiken back in September. Now looks to solidify his hold on a high spot in the division.
Stop. Break.
Looks as though this fight is going to be fought in the trenches, Emmanuel.
Yeah, Salido seems to me, maybe I'm giving, seems like he's seemingly given a little bit. Maybe I'm off, but I think the power punching of Guerrero is starting to be effective with it.
No, I'm with you. I think he's giving ground more freely than he did in the first round, and I think the uppercuts to the body and that maybe that one good left-hand shot upstairs have been enough to discourage him just a little bit.
Yeah, because he don't know now whether the left hand is coming from underneath or coming to the head.
Stop.
Guerrero says that he grew up in the farm fields around Gilroy, but he didn't harvest garlic. Raspberries, chilies. In fact, he thought he had the good job when his mother canned the chilies for the winter. He helped with that.
Stop.
That's probably inside work.
Stop.
Yeah, it's a lot of farming area, all in that whole area up there in California.
Spectacular soil. He says that when he lost the one fight to Gamaliel Diaz a year ago, his father had been removed from his training team. And that discomfited him along with some other things that were bothering him at the time. So he asked for his father to be brought back. And once that took place, he had his comfort zone again and has been winning ever since.
Well, he's got John Bray as the head trainer now. He brought his father back, but his father's operating in the capacity as the assistant trainer. But he is back.
John Bray is very big on constructing a fight plan and sticking with it. He says that's been the big improvement in Guerrero over the course of the past 2 years, is his ability to hear, listen, and follow a plan.
Basically, what he wants him to do is destroy the body of Salido, and that's mainly what he's trying to do more than anything else.
I believe that they believe that you can impose your will on Salido, that he'll back off and be content to lose comfortably. But so far, Salido is staying in.
Giving as good as he's getting as we come down the stretch of what has been a physical round two. Guerrero fighting with a little smile on his face as if he likes the physicality of the fight. Salido has come on strong in the last minute of this round.
That's all.
A good sweeping right hand for Salido to finish up the round.
Wake up. You got to wake up. Listen. Having more. You got to press this guy back and jab, but keep him at the end of that jab. When you start throwing your punches, I need them to be short, chopping combinations. Not one at a time, not two at a time. I need 4 and 5 at a time.
You're ready for 4
Listen,
rounds, baby.
bang the body, bring it up the middle. Do you understand me? Let's do this.
I'm gonna beat you to the punch, baby. Come on.
Keep your hands high and tight. Shit.
You make believe you're fighting a right-handed. Keep pressuring him. Yeah. Finish with that right hand. You're doing fine. You won this round. That round is yours.
Right here, you see Salido land a right hand to the chin. I think because Guerrero is not even looking for anything coming back. He's so intent on being aggressive that he's not even expecting punches to come back.
That was Salido's best punch of the fight. It punctuated the end of round two.
All right, stop, guys. Stop.
That was a very even round. CompuBox numbers finding Salido landing 19 out of 76, Guerrero 18 out of 76, and if the difference between 19 and 18 was that one sweeping right hand, it decided the round on Harold Letterman's scorecard.
Let's go, box.
So a good beginning to the fight. Both guys making their statements early. Salido finding some holes in Guerrero's defense and far more comfortable now than seemed to be the case in round one.
Yeah, Guerrero's actually kind of mugging for the most part. He's being very physical and not too much really speed of feet or hands for small guys, though. They're both just banging in there. And
Guerrero got his nickname the Ghost as an amateur because of his ability to move in, move out, disappear in front of his opponents. He sure doesn't fight like a ghost anymore.
No, he's just fighting a physical fight right now. He's no longer even using footwork. Trying to muscle this guy around and basically just wear him out by just muscling him instead of landing clean punches and keeping a distance.
Well, it had the makings of a potential phone booth fight, and they're moving in that direction now as round three comes to the midway point.
Pick him up. Más arriba.
Fight is scheduled for 12 rounds and has gotten off to a fast-paced start. So fatigue, endurance, they could be big factors down the stretch.
Guerrero is very, very offensive-minded, and as a result, he's getting caught with a lot of clean punches. And even in this round, he's got caught with about 3 good clean shots when he's coming in. So intent on just being offensive.
But Guerrero seems willing to take his chances on getting hit if he can lean on Salido and try to out-physical him for 36 minutes.
He feels that he's a much physically stronger guy, and eventually he will wear out Salido.
Now, what does it do to the legs of the fighter in the black trunks to have the guy in the red trunks leaning all over him like this, man?
Especially when you're having to back. If you're both in trade punches and the guy who's backing back loses is weakened as the fight goes on, as compared to the guy who's pushing forward.
And that's what's happening as Guerrero is simply shouldering forward, using his shoulders, his chest, his head, his legs, his hips, all to carry Salido around the ring.
Exactly.
Salido appears to have faster hands.
Agreed.
He's landing the cleaner blows to me. Even though he's been out muscle, but he's landing the cleaner shots.
And now Salido, who also seems intent on trying to steal rounds, flurries again in the last 30 seconds, just as he did in round two. Moments ago, referee Jay Nady in the locker room of Floyd Mayweather as we get ready for the main event.
Belly button to the hip bone below, that's a foul. Behind the ears is a foul. Keep all your punches in front. If you knock your opponent down, go to the neutral corner until I tell you to come out. Don't hit after I say stop or break, and don't hit him after the bell or after when he's down. If you're holding for one reason or another, which can't be very long, but don't punch with the other hand. And if he's holding you and he throws a punch, I'll stop and tell him not to do that. So if you're holding, you're not going to be hitting with the other hand. Hitting and holding is illegal.
Okay.
I know you don't have a tendency to hold anyway, and neither does he. Just obey my commands from now until the end of the fight, and we'll have a good fight.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
Good luck.
In the recent fight between Hasim Rahman and Oleg Moskaev, it was our observation that Jay Nady seemed to warn Moskaev far more frequently for holding than Rahman, and there didn't seem to be that big a discrepancy in the activities of the two fighters in the ring. Later, Jay told us that happened because Moskaev had told him during that pre-fight instruction that he was planning to hold Rahman until Jay Nady stopped him from doing it. So Nady was quite explicit from the beginning. Harold, how do you have this fight through three?
Okay, Jim, 29-28, 2 rounds to 1, Orlando Salido. Jim, in rounds 2 and 3, Orlando Salido did a nice job on the inside, landing right-hand counter shots. I mean, Guerrero's coming forward, Salido would land the cleaner shots, just like he did right over there, landed a nice right hand. So, based on clean punching, 2-1 Salido.
And CompuBox numbers bear out Harold's observation, as the CompuBox count for power shots in round 3 is 14 out of 62 for Guerrero, 29 of 82 for Salido, including 15 power shot connects in the last last minute, I should say, of the round. Both fighters have more or less dispensed with the jab, and just as I say that, Guerrero throws one and another. So suddenly they stand at distance for the first time in a while.
Good right hand by
Salido
Salido.
sneaks in a right hand lead across the top. Straight right hand against the southpaw, money punch, and Salido knows how to use it.
For whatever reason, Guerrero is trying to box more this round, giving a little bit more room to Salido. And Salido's trying to take advantage of it by trying to land clean shots here and there, just enough to get the points.
But Guerrero ducks and slips a couple and comes back with a good right hook.
Which suggests that in the war of will, physical will, that Salido is gaining an edge.
Yeah, his confidence is starting to grow, I see. And for whatever reason, Guerrero seems to be just a little bit slower than what I would like to see if I was in his corner.
Tough veteran Orlando Salido presenting questions, tactical questions, to Eric the Ghost Guerrero, or Robert the Ghost Guerrero, I should say, early in round 4. Good body shots by Salido, and now clean right hand across the top. And now it's Guerrero who's backing away. Straight right hand.
The cleanest punch has been the consistent throughout this entire fight now, that once the fighter's got his pattern, has been the right hands by Salido. Not a lot of them, but they're clean punches.
And they're swelling under the left eye of Robert Guerrero, probably as the result of those clean right hands. Guerrero has boxed the entire round after having mostly brawled for the first 3.
You won this round. How you feeling? Are you tired? Come on, take some air. We're gonna take it easy in this round. Box him. Yeah. Keep just boxing him. Yeah.
Cut and come back with the right hook. Yeah. Okay? Keep him at bay. Keep him at distance. You're smarter than this guy. Keep moving to your right and just keep boxing.
But you gotta let him go too.
Listen,
make him pay hard.
When you let your hands go in those combinations, they've got to be fast and hard.
Right here you see Salido land a great right hand right here, right on the chin. He was looking down, and I think Guerrero never expected the punch to come from that angle.
Seemed to go right around his glove.
Right around the glove,
like a home run that just curls around the foul pole.
So Salido building an early working margin on Harold Letterman's scorecard, at least. Go into the 5th of a scheduled 12, and early on it looked as though Robert Guerrero was here for a war of attrition and expecting to wear Salido down. In the last 2 rounds now, preceding round and this one, he has elected to box.
He's fighting now in the style that earned him the name Ghost.
Right, but it seemed to be a little slower, particularly on his feet. He's not as nifty on his feet as he should be, I think. Even though he lands punches, he's stumbling and falling a lot with bad balance, especially for a little small guy. He should be in and out a lot better.
And when you think of how slick and how smooth Division Kingpin Juan Manuel Marquez is.
Yes, it moves in very gracefully and moves out gracefully.
Marquez would have big advantages in foot movement against this guy.
And the foot movement is a big factor. And a lot of these fighters I'm studying, nobody moves with their feet hard anymore. They're just going straight in, forward, walking in. Even the small guys.
Floyd Mayweather?
Floyd is a little bit better, and that's a big advantage, and maybe a big factor tonight, because Baldomir is tough as he is. He's not that good with his feet, though.
Well, the second round in a row, it's Guerrero who backs up and Salido who comes forward. Early on, Guerrero was absolutely determined to go forward and was using all of his body to move Salido around the ring and do it.
Swelling under the right or left eye, I should say, of Guerrero.
Guerrero's boxing, but he's not sharp with it. But still, he's getting hit with a lot of punches.
And that left uppercut, so much a factor in the first couple of rounds, has disappeared as the fight has gone on. I mean, obviously from this distance, he's not going to be throwing any uppercuts. But frankly, that's a more effective punch than his right jab is, or his left cross across the top. Orlando Salido with a greater variety of punches, the ability to throw from more angles, and he has found more and more options as the fight has gone forward.
Yeah, Guerrero is boxing, but he's like stumbling around boxing, and I don't know how it's going to work in the late rounds. The more crisper punches is coming from Salido.
It's a good right hook across the top by Guerrero. One of his better punches in a while, but the momentum of the fight has shifted significantly in favor of Orlando Salido.
Take a deep breath. Let me tell you something. You got to start sticking this guy with a nice hard jab.
Yeah.
When he comes in, there's so many prime opportunities. He's leaning forward.
Make him pay.
Rip those uppercuts into combinations. You got to throw some hard, fast combinations. Come on, man. Put it together, Robert. This is it, baby.
Hey.
Dig deep.
He's a beaten fighter.
What happened? ¿Qué pasó? Guante, sécale.
Try the gloves.
No, por él. Hey, Orlando. Vámonos. Toma. Vamos, Yankee. Vamos, Yankee.
He's yours. Let's go. Go get him.
Round 6 of a scheduled 12 in Las Vegas. Last preliminary bout before the main event of the evening between Floyd Mayweather and Carlos Baldemir. Robert Guerrero in the red trunks from Gilroy, California, against Orlando Salido in the black trunks from Ciudad Obregón.
And Salido's landed 3 good straight right hands already to start this round off.
Salido, after 10 years as a pro without a title belt, trying to garner the belt that Guerrero won from a fighter named Eric Aiken in September. That's not the pinnacle of the division. Juan Manuel Marquez is the pinnacle of the division.
Whether or not he has a belt and who can really follow the belts.
Someone with a lot of time.
If you know
now straight left hand across the top for Guerrero. Let's see if he can get something going after that punch.
If you know who has all the belts in boxing, you got to get a life.
Well, there may be 4 or 5 writers in the sport I would nominate as candidates to at least try. Now Guerrero's going back to the bullying forward style a little bit, Emmanuel. The boxing didn't work.
But he just looks sluggish tonight still. I saw him much sharper than this before.
And you saw the sense of urgency in his corner as John Bray was beginning to step up the rhetoric, saying, you'd better land some good stiff jabs.
Yeah, and some faster punches, too, because I think John can feel that he's not punching with the speed or the accuracy that he should be punching at. That was a good left to the head. Probably the first time I saw him land a good left hand to the head in a long time.
Well, there was one earlier this round, so he's had a couple, but just hasn't been able to do much with his power hand, the left hand, other than the solid uppercuts to the body and one to the head in the first couple of rounds. Talking about Guerrero. Salido still landing punches from various different angles. Not big shots, but sharp shots.
Guerrero's a busier fighter, and you know, if a judge goes for the guy who's busy for the most part, a lot of people, Guerrero would be winning these rounds. Salido's had a good volume of clean punches in the fight, but Guerrero's still been the guy that's been busy and pressuring the fight all the way.
Reaching the midway point of the bout between Guerrero and Salido. A restless crowd waiting through this one as we get ready for Carlos Baldemir against Floyd Mayweather. Earlier you saw Jane Ady's instructions to Floyd Mayweather. Here's what he said to Carlos Baldemir. Valdemir in his dressing room, and I correct myself, these are not referee Jay Nady's instructions, rather just a chance to watch the Argentine fighter warm up. Walks around, he says, at 187 pounds. Then sweats himself down to 147 and gets into a very bad mood doing it, which he likes. Yesterday, there was considerable suspense in the Valdemir camp as to whether he would be able to make 147 when he stepped on the scale the first time. So when that happened, when he made weight, there was an instantaneous lift in the Valdemir atmosphere. They knew that yesterday became a day off at that moment instead of a working day.
And they said it's straight for the table after that. That's why he come in at 162.
Once again, our unofficial weigh-in totals tonight show us that Floyd Mayweather entered his dressing room weighing 149 after weighing in at 146 yesterday. And after weighing in at 147, Carlos Valdemir entered the building at 162. He'll have a 13-pound working advantage when they get into the ring. Round 7, Harold, how do you have it through 6?
You know something? You got to look who's landing a cleaner, harder shots. This is the kind of fight that you really, really got to concentrate on. And to tell you the truth, it's Orlando Salido. 59, 55, 5 rounds to 1 Salido. I think he's won the last 5 rounds in a row. He's got his feet flat. He sets down on his shots. He lands strong right hands, and Guerrero's just flailing away. Guerrero's left eye seems to be closing, so he's fighting at a disadvantage. But the clean, hard punches are being landed by Salido. 5 to 1 Salido.
I have it 4 to 2, or whatever that's worth.
Rounds 4, 5, and 6. Salido has been in his comfort zone doing what he wants to do. And Guerrero has seemed frustrated and confused about whether he should be boring forward and fighting inside or whether he should be staying back and trying to box behind his jab. Now he's definitely in the brawl mode again. And taking hard body shots from Salido.
Watch your heads, guys. Watch your heads. Stop. 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 Cuidado, la cabinas, okay? Watch your heads. Box.
Robert Byrd's attempted pronunciation. Cabeza, head in Spanish, trying to get the two fighters to keep their heads away from each other. It's a quick little left hand inside by Guerrero. He lands another little quick left inside and knocks Salido back into the ropes. But nothing big. Neither fighter has landed a really big shot since round 3 when Salido landed that sweeping right hand at the end of the round. Since then, it's pretty much been his fight. Good body shots by Salido. And Guerrero seems to be leaning forward more than throwing at this point.
Yeah, he's just pushing forward. But nevertheless, he's the one that's still pushing the fight, though. So I say, you know, it's still be a difficult fight to score.
Much of the time, Manny, when he's leaning on Guerrero, on Salido, trying to impose his physicality on him, Salido's throwing punches and landing.
So Salido's definitely landing the clean blows.
Robert Guerrero looking to find that one big shot inside that might change the fight for him.
That's all.
Battles down the stretch of round 7 with Salido.
Don't forget, like I told you, turn him to the other way, so make believe he's a right hand, so he doesn't hit you with that uppercut. Give me some water. Come on, you can't let up now. You got to close hard. Come on. Fight him, but with intelligence. And finish him off with the left hand.
CompuBox numbers over the course of the past 3 rounds show Salido landing 77 punches to 38 for Guerrero. In other words, Salido doubling Guerrero's connect total over the 3-round period, 5, 6, and 7.
Which means that Guerrero is moving in, but not effective. He's moving in, pushing the fight, but not landing blows, clean blows at least.
Aha, aggression, but not effective aggression.
Ineffective aggression.
Smoke it low, let him go, let him go, let him go. There you go.
These guys are small featherweights, and they're fighting slower than the heavyweights that fought earlier. Extremely slow pace for the little small men.
In case you missed it on the undercard, 2 unbeaten heavyweights from Southern California, Cristobal Arreola fought against Damian Wills. It was a spirited fight, won by Arreola on a 6th-round TKO. Hard right hand by Salido. Guerrero momentarily in trouble. Now he tries to come back with a left over the top.
But he's smothering Salido before Salido can continue to keep his punches together.
In terms of clean punches landed, though, it's another effective round for Orlando Salido.
Let him go, Robert, let him go. Go, Robert. Punching it out.
In close quarters, the shorter armed, quicker handed fighter is winning the fight.
There you go.
That's Salido.
And he's hammering Guerrero across the top with right hand. 3 or 4 really good ones in this round.
Guerrero's legs seem to be terrible tonight. I don't understand what it is. But his legs seem to be slow and all out of balance.
I think he needs about a dozen garlic cloves to drive Salido off.
Earlier, our Larry Merchant went to Floyd Mayweather's dressing room to talk with the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Floyd, Baldomir could walk into the ring tonight as a light heavyweight. What does that mean to you?
It really don't mean nothing to me. I've been here before. I know what it takes. I done fought guys that's been a lot bigger in fights. Most fights and guys have been bigger than me. It's just that, you know, I train all around the board. You know, I prepare myself for the best always.
You haven't had a real rough house kind of hard fight. Do you think he's going to try to get you into something like that?
Well, no, I'm just going to go out there and execute my game plan. My game plan is to go out there and be smart, dictate the pace from the beginning. Listen to my corner, go out there and be the same old Floyd Mayweather.
Beautiful night on the Strip as we look northward from the south end where we are in the Mandalay Bay Events Center. Round 9 of the scheduled 12-round fight between Robert Guerrero, Gilroy, California in the red trunks, Orlando Salido of Ciudad Obregón, Mexico in the black with gold trim. And Salido has been winning the fight for the past several rounds, as you can see from Harold Letterman's scorecard. A good working margin in the 8th round. Power shots counted by CompuBox. Salido landed 31 out of 92. High totals in both categories for the fight. Guerrero 13 out of 59. Robert Guerrero simply hasn't found much that works since the first 2 rounds of the fight.
In that interview, Jim, I said Baldomir could come in as a light heavyweight. Actually, he came in as a super middleweight. Although in the old days, before the super middleweight division, 162 would actually be a light heavyweight.
And of course, the fight takes place in the welterweight division. In case you are only a casual fan of boxing, that means welterweight, junior middleweight, middleweight, super middleweight, 3 divisions
guys,
removed
Stop.
where the fight was made. That's where Carlos Baldamir's weight classifies him tonight. That's just something that Mayweather's going to have to deal with, and I'm sure that it will do nothing to dampen his confidence going in.
But you know what? Speed can neutralize all of those things. Guys much faster. Otherwise, you could just win the fights by coming in who weighs the most. But speed can neutralize all of that.
When Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera came into the ring for their 3rd fight, Morales, seemingly in shape, outweighed Barrera by 11 pounds. Roy Jones sat with us and said that's the end of the fight. Morales is going to win. Barrera beat Morales to the punch all night long and won their 3rd fight. So the weight differential does not necessarily determine what's
right. If you have 2 guys like the way these guys are fighting, it can make a big difference. But when you have a sharp precision fighter like Floyd Mayweather, he can neutralize that by just his gift of speed and precision punching.
Yeah, we've seen a few fighters that came in very heavy and it made them sluggish looking. But still, all other things being near equal, it's an advantage.
You'd like to be the bigger guy in most instances.
All right, stop.
But that night, if Barrera knew he was that much smaller, he used it against Morales by beating him to the punch. Here we're in the 9th of a scheduled 12, and nothing much seems to have changed. Guerrero back into his brawling mode, pulling forward, trying to land body shots.
Just pushing forward as if he has no legs at all or balance. The only way he can keep his balance is just by pushing.
As though he's diving on top of Salido.
Yes, he's diving and pushing and mauling, that's it. I don't even like his boxing shoes, I'll be honest with you. They look like they're more designed for basketball. They don't seem to be fitting comfortable. They seem to be heavy. And it seems to be maybe having some effect on his movement on his feet also.
Well, there's no doubt that Salido has better footwork and better balance.
That's all. Unquestionably. Floyd Mayweather will be fighting without his normal trainer, his Uncle Roger, tonight. Roger Mayweather was suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for his activities in the 10th round melee that afflicted the fight between Mayweather and Zab Judah earlier this year. So he wouldn't have been in the corner anyway. But then in September, he was convicted on a battery charge and is serving a 6-month sentence in the Clark County Detention Center. So the man behind Mayweather in that picture, Leonard Ellerby, will be the chief trainer tonight. Mayweather says that's fine. I'm totally comfortable with Leonard. I've known him 20 years.
Well, listen, he has 2 rounds of experience in championship boxing. The last 2 rounds of the Mayweather Judah fight.
The last 2 rounds that Floyd fought.
10.
My memory is he won both rounds. Ellerby was a physical trainer himself years ago. Has worked over the years with Hasim Rahman as a chief second in Rahman's corner. Has worked as a second in Mayweather's corner. He's no stranger to being a voice in the corner. Harold Letterman, how do you have this fight going to the 10th?
You know, Jim, when you get a world champion that's a tall, thin guy, normally he keeps the other guy on the other end of his shots, gives himself some punching room, and takes advantage of the height. Robert Guerrero hasn't done that once the entire fight. I mean, it just keeps moving in, and Salido keeps hammering him. 8 rounds to 1, 89-82, Orlando Salido.
Harold, he tried it in an earlier round, and he was worse off than he has been in close quarters.
More and more, it looks as though we're going to be hearing that this was an off night for Robert Guerrero. Maybe Orlando Salido is a lot better than those 9 losses on his record might indicate. Coincidentally, Carlos Baldamir, fighting against Floyd Mayweather in the main event, has 9 losses on his record. Don't let them fool you.
Yes, that was early in his career. I don't think Salido's looking that exception. I think that Guerrero just looking terrible tonight. He looks sluggish and comes in. He's pushing forward to keep from falling down himself, seemingly. But Salido's not looking that super.
Well, he'll feel super when this fight is over.
He wins it, he comes out of it with a title belt, and he'll tell himself he's the best featherweight in the world.
Stop. I'll tell you again. Stop.
Guerrero got in a sneak left hand over the top. Not a lot of impact, though. Salido was going backward at the time. Salido with a popped little uppercut in there. Got Guerrero's attention, and now he hammers Guerrero to the body with a three-punch combination. Good right hand.
Because all Guerrero doing is just jumping in, falling in.
And as you say, he appears to have very little balance tonight, Emmanuel.
Yes.
No hand speed. Earlier on, he was committed in the fight. Now more and more he appears to be losing confidence as well.
His legs is almost like Eric Morales in the latter part of his last fight with Manigan Pacquiao. Same thing, the legs like they're gone for whatever reason.
This will be a setback for Goosen Tudor Promotions, promoter Dan Goosen. If Guerrero goes down, he's a star that they've been counting on to continue his rise.
You need a knockout.
A little disappointment for me because I'm a big fan of Guerrero.
Go for it. This is what
I'm
I
a
need
little disappointed at his performance
When you're
tonight.
jabbing, you got to really set down, push off that back foot, and throw a power jab right in his chest. Stand him up and hit him with something real hard to the body, man. I don't care if it's a left hand or a right hand to the body. And another. Well, got more than know.
Here you see Guerrero coming in forward, losing his balance, not expecting anything back. Beautiful right hand right on the chin by Salido. Just moving forward, just pushing forward, instead of stepping and keeping his balance.
Guerrero looked up at a picture of himself and an overhead screen. Might not have liked the way he looked. He's landed just 24 out of 254 jabs in the bout by CompuBox count. And now Harold Letterman has given Salido 9 consecutive rounds.
The left eye of Guerrero looks like it's closing.
All right, stop. Hey! No tira golpes. Step out. Box.
Left eye of some of his fans may be closing too.
Stop. I got you. Stop. Step out.
Not enjoying what they're seeing. Bad night for Guerrero. Bad night for Gilroy, California. Bad night for Garlic. Now you heard Guerrero's corner saying you need to hit him with something straight to the body. A jab to the chest would be good. Straighten him up and then find a way to land a power punch. Guerrero's trying to do it. He hurt him.
But so far he's won the early part of this round here by punching a little crispy and using some footwork instead of just pushing forward and getting his legs all crossed up. But just boxing, simple 1-2 punches and moving in and out. He's winning the round.
Only once in his career has he scored a knockout past the 8th round. That's typical of most boxer-puncher type fighters. It's a 12-round fight tonight, as you can see. Salido seems to be coasting a little bit now, just sitting on his lead. Much of Salido's offense tonight has been predicated on the awkward and occasionally off-balance style of Guerrero.
But so far, this part of the round, I would give Guerrero, I think he's winning this part of
It's his best round probably since the first or second round.
Yes. As long as he keeps going in and out and try to punch sharp and simple
Pick him up.
and use his footwork.
Well, I think it will be important to his psyche to come out with some small victory by trying to come back in these last 2 rounds, showing that he's got the stuff to compete at this level, because up to now he hasn't.
Yeah. And I'd say Salido, I believe is winning the fight still, but I'm not super impressed with him neither.
And if there were big questions about this round, Salido's trying to answer them, landing 2 flush right hands in the last 10 seconds. Good uppercut by Guerrero. Always his best punch. Great right hand. Lands flush again for Salido. 1 round to go.
This is the last round, champ. Yeah, don't let. If he hits you one, hit him 3 times. Okay, just box him. All you gotta do is score points. That's all. Just so you can win the tournament. You don't have to slug it out with him. Yeah. If he comes too close, just move away from him. You just gotta score points. That's all. Don't fight in the inside. Don't fight in the close. Sharp punches. Just move around. Just move around.
It all hangs. Let's go. I mean, you get rough, tough. You do whatever you got to do. You got to win this. You got to knock him out.
Get your second win, baby. This is the 12th.
CompuBox numbers at 11. Guerrero 18 out of 60. Salido 11 out of 66. First round in which Salido has been outlanded by Guerrero since round number 1. That should give you an idea of what's happened so far in the fight. This is the last round of preliminary boxing before we get ready for the main event.
Don't lean on him. Free up your hands.
Both Emmanuel Stewart and I thought that Guerrero fought his best round since the first round, and round 11 wasn't good enough to convince Harold Letterman to give him a round, who gave Salido his 10th consecutive round on the Letterman scorecard.
I've given Guerrero 3 rounds.
Pretty abundantly clear that neither man has the power to knock the other guy out with 1 shot. So in all likelihood, we're going to the final bell. And the issue appears to have been decided for some time, barring blindness on the part of the television commentators. Boxing fans who like sustained trading action with foot movement and skill in the middle of the ring may not be huge fans of the way Guerrero fights anyway. The guy who leans all over other people through most of the fight.
Give Salido credit. He could have glided through this round. He has boxing skills. He stayed toe-to-toe with Guerrero because he's been so successful in that way for almost 12 rounds.
Seems to have been able to fight Guerrero both ways. Has been able to fight him from distance, has been able to fight him inside.
Even when Guerrero's going forward, he's just like pushing and mauling, but not really landing accurate punches.
So now if you were elsewhere and you didn't see Salido's preparatory KO wins coming in against Leonard Valdez and Roger Satagua and Franer Trinidad in Ciudad Obregón, now you know about Orlando Salido, because he just did a pretty good job of beating up a prospect who had gotten a lot of attention and had won a title belt. John Bray, the trainer, is going to lift Guerrero up anyway, perhaps by way of showing that he's strong enough to lift his fighter.
An indication, by the way, of why we sometimes denigrate all of these titles.
A very good indication. Salido closed the show according to CompuBox numbers, landing 36 of 133 punches in the 12th. As Larry Merchant pointed out, standing in and fighting all the way to the finish.
Everybody's a champ there. Champion on the
Salido with a smile on his face, appears to be a happy man. Guerrero and his cornermen may be whistling in the dark a little bit at this point, perhaps not acknowledging to themselves the reality of what it appears to us happened here. Let's find out from Michael Buffer if the judges agreed with us that the fight was one-sided.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay, we go to the judges' scorecards. Richard Green scores at 115-113. Dave Moretti, 117-111. Patricia Morse-Jarman, 118-110. All to the winner by unanimous decision. And new IBF featherweight champion of the world, Orlando City Salido.
So Orlando Salido gets his much-deserved victory over Robert Guerrero, a fight which he clearly won by landing 108 more total punches according to CompuBox count, throwing over 1,000 punches in a 12-round fight, very high activity rate, and landing at a higher connect percentage than Guerrero. The title belt that Guerrero took from Eric Aiken in September now belongs to Salido. He'll take it back to Ciudad Obregón, Mexico. Total power punches, Salido with an even bigger edge, landing 127 more, throwing nearly 300 more power punches during the fight and landing at a higher connect percentage. Couldn't be much clearer from the CompuBox numbers who won the fight. And still to come tonight, our main event. It's the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Floyd Mayweather sees his name second on the billboard because Carlos Baldemir is the